from Greenville, South Carolina, going towards Paladin Stadium. It's the first rematch at this venue between the Greenville Triumph and the Richmond Kickers, presented by Warehouse Services Incorporated. Welcome one and all to the broadcast here on ESPN Plus. My name is Mark Schoenster, and sitting to my right is Ross Davenport. Ross, it's only been a hot minute just back in March since these two teams played last, but these are two sides that have already gone through some tremendous growth up to this point in the season.
Especially the Greenville Triumph, a lot healthier now. Still a little banged up, but certainly not as banged up as they were back then in that opener.
As we take a look at the standings, brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. Greenville, we're at the bottom of the standings to start the season. Now they've strung a couple wins together. Meanwhile, Richmond sitting with them tied at 9 points apiece. Between the two of them, they've had a little bit more of a solid run to go of it to start this season.
Yeah, still not too much to read into these standings with the discrepancy in games. Noco only played 4, Tormenta, Charlotte with 8. But yeah, win tonight could move Greenville or Richmond up into the top 3.
As we take a look at the last time these two teams met, a 1-0 result, Carleton-Belmar. The difference in that one, first game of the season for the Greenville Triumph. Richmond, their second. And Richmond were able to come out with 3 points on the road. Yeah,
it was a lovely finish by Belmar. A little dink past Boyce and the finish inside the far post. But Greenville outshot the Kickers 14-5 in this game, but only 2 were on target.
As we take a look at our player to watch, Liam McKinnon, the reigning USL League One Player of the Week, the rookie. He's got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Listen, John Harkes has a great knack for finding true goal scorers fresh out of college since taking on this role. And this latest discovery, what a game last time out for the rookie from Switzerland via Villanova. Goal and assist against Charlotte, Player of the Week. I think he stays in the starting lineup tonight.
And he'll be trying to lace one through or provide a goal against Akira Fitzgerald. 2 clean sheets this season, but he has racked up the clean sheets throughout his career in the United Soccer League.
The Kickers had some changes on the back line this season due to some off-season departures, but Akira Fitzgerald, the veteran, the most appearances between the pipes in Kickers history by quite a way, the undoubted leader of this team at the back, elite ball handler and shot stopper. He's only had to make 7 saves in his 3 starts entering tonight.
Yeah, it's been a bulky and resilient back line for the Richmond Kickers, but they're going up against the Greenville side. They've started to find it offensively. It's clicking. Let's see which side gives through here in the next 90 minutes. It's the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph coming up next on ESPN Plus. We'll see you on the other side of this break.
We would not have a business today if it weren't for the support of many, many people within the Richmond community. To me, we're working as a team to enhance the quality of life for all residents.
It's about being the best that you can be. It's about enriching the lives of people in your community. There's a reason why we have the tagline Nourish, because it's really about nourishing the lives of the people that work for us and the people that we serve. That's what the UCrops brand stands for.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
We offer a full array of dental treatment, and what that provides you as a patient is you're able to come to one place and get comprehensive care under one roof.
I've always been greeted with a smile. They know me when I call. I trust them.
We'd love to see you at Wood Creek Dental. Visit us at woodcreekdental.com.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
This USL League One broadcast is presented by Warehouse Services Incorporated, proud sponsor of the Greenville Triumph. Here's our starting lineup for the Greenville Triumph, brought to you by Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System. Pretty standard here, just 2 changes, Ross.
Yeah, one of them's a big one, though. Aaron Walker, the captain in central midfield. He's out, sustained that hamstring injury that he actually played through in that win over Charlotte. Tevin Shorewell is healthy now. He will come in to replace him. And Brandon Fricky back in the starting lineup for first time this season after off-season surgery.
The typical 4-2-3-1, 4-1-4, depending on how you want to look at it. Meanwhile, the Spartanburg Regional Healthcare System lineup for the Richmond Kickers.
One change here for Darren Sawatsky on the right side up front. Chandler O'Dwyer, the second-year man, gets his first professional start, replacing Matt Bentley on that right side. Neil Vinyals also remains out for a third straight game.
Joao Gamiro in that spot. They've really liked how he's filled in Neil Vinyals' shoes in that regard. As these two teams take to the pitch, our first look at the third kit this season for the Greenville Triumph. Meanwhile, Richmond in their away whites.
Our favorites, Mark.
Yeah.
Good thing we know the Kickers pretty well, as does this Greenville side. Played each other obviously a ton of times in USL League One.
They played a ton of times, and also a lot of returning players on this Richmond past year by year. Integral to what Darren Sawatsky pushes for within that organization. He wants guys that are there for the long haul. And this Greenville side very similarly have a couple of staples who have been around for a handful of seasons.
And the coaches have obviously been around for seasons as well. You know how they like to play, both these teams very familiar with each other. It's going to be a tight affair, as it always is, between these two teams. This is the 12th meeting, 5 wins for each side, and just 1 draw. Greenville yet to have a draw this season in league play after finishing last season with 4 in the last 5 games.
The last draw that Greenville had was against the Richmond Kickers to close off that season, the regular season that is, both teams going to the postseason after that. You mentioned longtime head coaches Darren Sawatsky and John Hartz, the two coaches. 2 have coached in every single season that USL League One has had. Of course, Darren Sawatsky's first year was with FC Tucson. The rest of them, though, have been with the Kickers. So 2 coaches that understand the league and everything inside of it. As Emiliano Terzaghi with the captain's armband waits for the go-ahead. Our head official, Ulvin Oliva.
Not sure what's going on with Emiliano Terzaghi. Just some. Oh, aha!
Gotta have those shin guards.
I never understood that rule there, Mark. If you want to play with that, it's like motorcycle helmets. If you want to drive your motorcycle without a helmet, that's up to you. It's the same thing with shin guards to me. If you want to get kicked in the shins, more power to you.
We'll see if that's a referee thing or if that was Darren Sawatsky going, no, you go get some shin guards on because you're Emiliano Terzaghi.
Yeah, finally got his first League One goal. Recently off that nice free kick of the season, that is. Obviously, Golden Boot man.
And we are underway here between the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph from Paladin Stadium. Polak will blast this one up the pitch.
The birthday boy today, Tyler Polak. I promised on social media I wouldn't say how old he was unless he scored tonight. And if he didn't score tonight, I said unless he scored tonight, then I wouldn't. But I'm not going to. We'll see if he does.
Castro trying to thread it through to Boyce. Still waiting for his first goal or assist this season, but he's been oh so active throughout the year. And Akira Fitzgerald gets his hands on it early. That's the center back pairing of Dakota Barnathan and Nathan Awney. This back line has been oh so stout this season for the Richmond Kickers.
Yeah, lost a good handful of players, the likes of Payne, Ritchie, Chrysler, etc. Michael Hornsby's been a great pickup to go to Barnathan. Played some defensive midfield last year. We'll get to that in a second.
McKinnon plays it forward. Turning and still going is Coutinho. And that should be a free kick just outside the penalty area.
John Hartz, it wasn't this week, but it was the week before, about Lucas Coutinho and his confidence level, how high it is. You can see that first touch there and that turn to go towards goal. That's what he was brought in here to do. And he's been superb so far this season. A chance now, perhaps, for him to take a shot on target with this set piece.
He is incredibly dangerous right now.
Just a little too much contact there by Nathan Awney.
And we'll see how they approach this. You got a guy who thinks they can hit it from this angle. Well, if they're gonna tee up something a little bit more creative.
Tyler Pollack, not somebody we see normally line up for set pieces. Maybe he's feeling inspired after my threat on Twitter tonight, Mark.
We'll have his whistle waiting for the go-ahead. It'll be Coutinho. Coutinho rifles it! It's excellently placed! And this hot streak from Lucas Coutinho continues.
John Harkes will be ecstatic. He talked about how his team must do better on set pieces. And what a start there from the first free kick. In shooting range here tonight.
A fabulous finish from Lucas Coutinho.
Fitzgerald saw it. It was so well hit. I think Fitzgerald may have just leaned slightly to his right. You expect the right-footed kicker to try and curl it, right? And he just went inside that far post, saw a gap, and beat Fitzgerald inside his far post.
Lucas Coutinho, 4th goal of the season for the Brazilian.
Another Brazilian, Rafa.
Other League One games taking place at this very moment. Wonder if there's someone out there who's got the quad screen setup going right now.
I'm sure
Ross.
there is somebody. The TV, the computer screen, the iPad, and the phone. That's the easiest way to do it.
That goal is brought to you by the YMCA Greenville. What a goal it was.
If you are doing the quad screen, please tweet me and we'll give you a shout out.
That was not a bad look there, trying to thread it inside. Got a couple of bodies around. It'll be a corner kick for the Kickers. A team known to win a lot of corner kicks.
Well, that last game against Omaha, they had a bunch in the final 5 minutes, trying to find that late winner, hit the crossbar from Luke Pavone. Nathan Orney was in the mix as well, too. Those two big central defenders are going to cause trouble for this Greenville team here with their size.
Maybe a little early to tease it, but if you missed those clips, you will see them at halftime. Hornsby with the ball inside, headed down and straight to the hands of Mazzola. So you've got veteran keeper Akira Fitzgerald on one end, and then Jared Mazzola in his 2nd year as a pro. Didn't make any appearances last year, though, but he has been the starter since day one this season. Pretty much as green as a rookie, outside of the fact that he's been able to train around the team for longer than a rookie would have. So maybe a little bit more acclimated with the team's culture, but as far as playing time was concerned coming into this season, still fresh off the college block. Service comes in. That one will be pinged out for another corner. That time by Brandon Fricke, getting his first start of the year.
Corner for Richmond.
Carlton Belmar on the right. Spent most of the time on the left this season. Certainly capable of playing both wings.
Well, with Chandler O'Dwyer getting plugged in, perhaps they like him more on that left-hand side. Well, we'll see if that persists as the game goes on.
So Nathan Orney with the header on target from the last corner as Hornsby comes over to take this one. What a pickup he's been before he go last season.
From one coast to the other, Hornsby swings it in, headed away. Now Pilato and Coutinho go running. Pilato gets that one knocked away by Ani for a Greenville throw. It's been a week and a half since the last time the Triumph played. I was talking to John Harkes, and I said, I mean, is that a thing that's allowed to happen to you guys? Their schedule's been so congested and crazy as of late, and he sheepishly said at first, well, we do what we're told. You know, it's the schedule's the schedule. But he mentioned that they took some much-needed time to recover mentally and physically, given this extra time given to them. They have a lot of Wednesday games this year. If I remember correctly, I was told 7 games on Wednesdays, and that doesn't count their Open Cup trip to Phoenix earlier this year. So you could say 8 Wednesday games in total. As Boyce wins this one back for the Triumph. Boyce knocks out the right-hand side for Schultz and put too much juice on it, and will roll out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Greenville will be back in action again next Saturday, and then they will travel to Union Omaha, Devin Boyce's former home, on the 24th. It's a long trip to make midweek. They do have Saturday games either side of that. Oh, excuse me, they do have the Saturday off after that. Excuse me, they're playing again after that to June 3rd against their tormentors, Tormenta. Team has just had Greenville's number over the last few games.
Coutinho already has a goal in this game, plays it inside. That one, Castro, I'm sure, was trying to get tricky with it. But Akira Fitzgerald is able to clutch it.
See Boyce pinched inside. That allowed Coutinho to go into the space that Boyce vacated. It's a decent cross, looking for the feeder. Castro, he was looking to get just that little back heel flick. Past Akira Fitzgerald, but Akira was ready for it.
You mentioned Omaha. You briefly mentioned the Omaha game that Richmond had just last week. Over 5,000 people in attendance for that one. Shout out to the Red Army and the Richmond faithful for just showing out, continuing to be a standard in League One as far as fan attendance is concerned and atmospheres. Darren Swatsky felt his side did enough to win the game, especially during those last 6 or 7 minutes with those corner kicks. He felt they could have scored on all 3 of them. But he said it was a pretty even game though, and I really enjoyed playing Union Omaha. Certainly it's not the bunker style of the Owls of old that they play anymore.
Yeah, it was very tight in shots. 13 for Richmond, 14 for Omaha. But Omaha only had 1 on target. Terzaghi had 5 shots in that game. He missed an early one that he really should have put away. Ball came right across and Terzaghi just didn't quite put it where he wanted to. Point blank range from 8 yards out.
Rare for Terzaghi to miss those. Right now Richmond maybe needing him to step up to the plate here. Down a goal early after a brilliant free kick from Lucas Coutinho.
I talked about this game, Mark, beforehand and said an early goal might help things. Greenville used to be great at holding on to those 1-0 leads. Haven't been as good, perhaps, since the middle of last season.
They've got the back line back, though.
They do, yeah. Brandon Fricke back in tonight. He's on the ball now. Such a crucial presence in that back line with him and Lee and Polak. Noah Frankie perhaps would have been the likely starter at right back, but he had another setback with his hamstring injury, John Harks told us this week, so he remains out for a while.
I mean, I'm not sure if I'm 100% sold that he would have it, though, because I remember last season he was the predetermined right back, and then Schultz came in, and then Schultz did not let that spot go throughout the season. He was so good.
And Frankie was all sorts of banged up last year as well. Greenville just had so much bad luck with the injury thing over the last couple of seasons, but they've managed to, John Harks manages to get through it, right? They have those spells where they struggle for a little bit, wait till everybody gets healthy. Venton Evans tonight, personal issue, he remains out. Ben Hale is still injured. Smith also out, another defensive presence missing for John Harks.
You can see John Harks in his dugout right there, handing the ball to Hornsby. And there's the Reedy River Riot, drumming away and providing support for their leading side. Had a very positive result last time they played, a road trip to Charlotte, and won that game.
Yeah, I did that game, Mark, and yeah, Charlotte also pretty banged up. Missing Oberton for that game. Lost Austin Pack in the middle of the game in strange circumstances. Never really found out. He's back tonight, thankfully, for Charlotte. Another team that had a bunch of games squeezed in a short amount of time.
Harks called that game super disciplined, and the combination play was great. He liked how well the first half ended with 2 goals, but I think he was even more pleased with how they came out to start the second half and scoring that 3rd goal and keeping their foot on the gas.
Which was an impressive performance, scored at perfect times either side of halftime. It's also the first of 4 of the next 5 games at home for Greenville. Something enough to pick up a good chunk of points. Really position themselves well for the second half of the season. They're tough ones though. They do go to they do host Knoxville next Saturday, but those last 2 in that stretch are against Tormenta and Omaha.
We got a little back and forth with Omaha here in this next few weeks.
So 2 teams with a bit of history. After they really should have met in 2 straight finals, right?
Yeah.
It didn't. Due to COVID, obviously. Much different Omaha team than this year, as you mentioned, Mark. New manager, new players as well. Impressed early, Omaha, though.
dynamic side, but still have Rashid Nuhu back there. I don't know. Whenever the day comes that Rashid Nuhu doesn't play for Omaha anymore, I don't know if I'm going to be able to recognize Union Omaha.
He just signed a new deal, right? Didn't he, Mark,
Yeah,
this offseason?
he's going to be there for quite a while.
Obviously, that helps too when teams come in to try and buy somebody and they say, well, he's got an existing contract with us. You have to add a few bucks to get him out of that.
Yeah. I asked Darren Sawatsky about how much does a different pitch change preparation in talking about this pitch, and he jokingly said that he gave his teams rocker glasses or waivers, the shutter glasses with the lines across them from the 80s. And he said, but ultimately the pitch here is very good, even though the lines are there and in the forefront. He said as far as turf pitches are concerned, it's a good pitch. The ball bounces a little more, but that's about it.
Yeah, we used to get some complaints from visiting coaches about Legacy early, but no complaints so far about Paladin Stadium. Yeah, we do have the extra lines, but it just takes a little while for the eyes to get used to.
The yellow ones are the important ones.
Yeah, when you asked Targsy about it previous week, he talked about the sideline being the big issue. You can see how close it is to that other white line.
I mean, look how many lines are there. You've got 1, 2, 3,
yeah, within
4.
Like 12 feet. 12 yards, I should say. I'm going to get you guys on the beaters, Mark.
I was about to say, we're in America, Ross.
One of these days. Oh, nice turn.
Chance to push forward for Richmond. Here's Belmar. Working on Polak. He's able to nutmeg him there, and that one pops through. Terzaghi goes down. Nothing is called. It was Evan Lee on the challenge.
Something like another look at that one. He was goal side of Evan Lee, was Terzaghi. He's gone down a little easily. Let's take another look at it here. Complete mistake by Noah Pilato here. Shanked it. There was certainly some contact. Evan Lee lucky to get away with that one.
I say the only thing I could see in that is perhaps did Terzaghi run into the contact, but I mean it's such a bang situation.
Now he gets called for the free kick. You can see Emiliano Terzaghi's reaction. He's certainly one of those players that will let the referee know his opinion on decisions. The only thing about the contact was would Mazzola have got there regardless?
That is true.
Foul. Well, there's a look at Chandler O'Dwyer there, the man, former Des Moines Menace man. You and I look back at that 2021 season, Mark, when they won the USL League Two Championship. Kingsford Ajay was also on that side, as well as former Omaha man Hugo Kamatani, Jordan Skelton. They ended up losing. No, sorry, they beat North Carolina Fusion, right?
Yeah.
Final, and Joao Gamero was on that Fusion side.
Wow.
Some connections from that US. That's what's so great about USL League Two. See some players before they make that move to the pros.
Boyce takes a shot and it's straight into the hands of Akira Fitzgerald.
Rasping effort from Devin Boyce. We talked to John Harkes about Boyce. No goals or assists this season, as you mentioned earlier, Mark. Here's another look at it here. Nice little touch to find space. Certainly had some venom on it. Asked him about his 4 yellow cards. He said he's a guy that plays with passion on his sleeve.
Here's another opportunity. This shot deflected away, and that might have been a much needed deflection from Dakota Barnathan.
He said that Boyce just needs to calm down sometimes, not pick up as many cards. He's 1 card away from a fine, and obviously halfway to the 8, which would give him
the only one.
I think so, after the Charlotte defeat to Greenville, yes. Jake Krull with the assist. 4 matches all starting at 7 p.m. Eastern tonight. Lexington hosting Charlotte, and 1 Knoxville hosting Noka. Noka will finally get their first home game later this month on the 27th at Legends Field.
Polak hit that one with the outside of his boot. It's not quite what he was looking for. Now Richmond try to break away. This one popped forward. Terzaghi turns on the burners. Terzaghi can't get over Mazzola. He's juggling it. Look at that footwork from Mazzola.
Well, he got caught in no man's land, Mark. I was waiting to see on the screen where Mazzola was. He didn't come till the last second. He got very lucky there. You thought he would have come out for it right here. He was sitting a little too far back, and he's very lucky that Terzaghi.
Moment for Jared Mazzola, but that's why you still have keepers encouraged to get their foot on the ball a lot and practice their juggling. I think that's Dakota Barnathan who's down.
Looking in some discomfort. Asking for a substitution already. Oh my.
Well, we've got Chris Cole and Jake Meekum on the bench, listed defenders. Luke Pavone kind of gets plugged anywhere in this Richmond system, so he could also be an option.
Meekum, the rookie, he's looked good at times when he's come on, but he's only more of a left back, or a full back at least, than a center back. He has played center back this year. He started that Open Cup game against DC United at that spot. I asked Darren Sawatsky earlier this season what his depth options were at center back. He did mention Cole. He was there with his ability to play across the back line anyway, so it looks like it'll be him coming on. So big concern here for that man in black, Darren Sawatsky. He's lost his starting center back early.
Chris Cole, though, a scrappy player for this Richmond side. He played a lot in 2021, didn't get as much time in 2022. But he was kind of your everyman on that back line in 2021, could slot into any spot. Standing at 6'1". Looks like that substitution is about to take place. Chris Cole for Dakota Barnathan, 27 years old from Duval, Washington. It'll just be his second appearance of the season for the Kickers.
It's a big loss because Barnathan and Oni were really forming a superb partnership at that centre back spot so far this season. They're going to have to change things up. Cole certainly no more as a fullback.
See how he's get adjusted here.
Entering the match, number 3, Chris Cole.
Will this just be a plug-in replace situation, or?
I think so.
Dakota Barnathan in the 21st minute.
We'll wait and see, though.
Started a game last year at center back, Chris Cole, against North Carolina in May. It was his only start of last season. She partnered Nathan Oni in that game at the center back spot, so they do have a little bit of familiarity with each other. Obviously, I'm sure in training he gets rotated in there as well. See how Richmond respond to that injury.
Gamiro still going forward. Schultz does well to shrug him off, in essence box him out. Select the official match ball supplier of the USL League One and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit www.us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. This ball goes through to Terzaghi. Lays it across the center, trying to connect with Belmar. Service comes in once again, headed away by Schultz. Hornsby will throw this one in. To see what the point is from our official, and it will be in favor of the visitors.
John Harks disagrees with that decision.
"20 minutes in, a goal in the 3rd minute from Lucas Coutinho. An excellent free kick that was drawn by Lucas Coutinho. Throw in Hops around, and Mazzola was able to let it fall into the breadbasket. Try to calm things down a little bit. Talking to John Harkes about that first game against Richmond and how much has changed. He said we had 6 new faces in that first game and 9 guys on the injury list, 5 of which were starters. And he's been talking about how this team's just been trying to find that rhythm and chemistry. And talking about the Richmond side, he said that they're a team that builds great from the back, and it all starts with Zaka Moran. He makes the game for them, is how Harkes put it. And then he also had some nice words to say about Michael Hornsby as well.
Darren Sawatzky said before that first game against Greenville that Michael Hornsby was his best off-season signing. So impressed with him when he played in Fresno. He's an incredible player. He's shown it so far this season. Loves to get up that bomb down that left wing from the fullback spot. It's an interesting throw-in.
Richmond just trying to figure out a way to push forward. There's Fitch and Suko over there trying to figure out the proper avenue. And Darren Sawatzky scouting out this Greenville side. He talked about just how organized John Harkes-led teams always are. That one couldn't get brought down. He'll go out for a goal kick. He mentioned Coutinho's in the form of his life, and unfortunately for Richmond, he's continued to be in that good spell of form here today. Darren Sawatzky mentioned that he's loved Coutinho since his Tormenta days and was actually there that day that he had that terrible accident when he was still with Tormenta. So Darren very happy that Coutinho's not only back, but
nastiest collisions I've seen on a football field in my history. And Darren Sawatzky was saying nobody was sure if Lucas Coutinho was ever going to play again after that. Luckily he has, and is thriving this season. It just takes a bit to get your confidence back after that, right?
Yeah. Also had a lot of praise for Aaron Walker, whom he does not have to prepare and think about today. He said, we've got to do what we do to slow them down. And he said, yeah, we won the last game, but they very much outshot us, which you pointed out in the open. And then on top of that, although all the talk is about how much better Greenville's gotten since that game, Darren Sawatzky made sure to make a point that he feels his team has gotten much better since that game as well. As that service comes in and is knocked out. Coutinho just steals that one back. Boyce tried to square it in, and it's cleared out.
Season. I'd love it, I think, Shaw to be starting back there and give Walker a little more freedom forward, but you obviously can't bench Coutinho right now. Pilato scored in 3 straight. So it's a sneaky one there, Fitzgerald. To be careful.
Instead it came off of Akira Fitzgerald, and he got some contact on it, so it'll be a PNC's corner for kids. Tyler Polak. He floats this one in, and it's gobbled down and finds its way through. And Greenville double the advantage. And I think that's Brandon Fricke in his first start of the season.
When I saw this ball getting delivered in, I was keeping an eye on Fitzgerald to see if he was going to come for it. He's not the tallest keeper in the world. Now his other centre-back, Nathan Orney, is hurt. We'll see on the replay, there wasn't a huge clamoring for a free kick call. I don't know if he collided with his own man, Fitzgerald. Let's take another look at it here. There's a big man to go through, Nathan Orney. Perhaps a slight foul from Tevin Shaw. There wasn't huge remonstrations, a little bit. Well, the collision with Shaw was certainly, it wasn't with Fitzgerald, it was with Orney, but it was certainly could have been a call to foul on its own. But Brandon Fricke won't care. He was there to clean up, and it's 2-0 Greenville.
Brandon Fricke from Grimes, Iowa. The 2020 Defender of the Year in USL League One. That goal brought to you by the YMCA Greenville. A triumph looking very good at this point, nearly 30 minutes in. Talked about how set pieces has always been a bane of this team's existence offensively. They've now got 2 of them in this game.
Yeah, John Harkes said he'd been working so hard on them. He was disappointed with the deliveries over the last few games, but it's all come right tonight at the right time, and even before the half-hour mark. Greenville with a 2-goal advantage.
Take a look at this one more time here.
Just keep an eye on Tevin Shaw. Makes the collision with Nathan Orney. They're both going for the ball. Freaky was just there to hook it home.
Yeah, to very quickly adjust your body, and just gotta, you know the keeper's out, so you just need to ping it towards the net. It doesn't need to be super accurate or super powerfully hit. It just needs to get on goal at that point.
I assume referee Oliva perhaps didn't make a call because it didn't have anything to do with the end result of the play, right? Fitzgerald wasn't really too affected by the collision. Just didn't grab it. So looks like Nathan Orney is going to make his way off for now. Oh. Yeah, Terzaki's got to be careful. He just pulled back referee Oliva, who gave him the look. No card though.
So play has started.
I think we did restart with an attempt on goal by Emiliano Terzaghi from distance.
I don't believe you could score though directly from a kickoff. Don't you need to have a second player touch the ball first? I got to brush up on my shots directly from
back in the day, it used to have to go forward. I think it's okay.
Whether a kickoff is a
referee
direct or
days are
indirect
long
free
behind
kick.
you, Mark.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I can't tell you off the top of my head if a kickoff's direct or indirect, but I can tell you if a goalie from a goal kick kicks the ball out on a goal kick and then a gust of wind pushes the ball back in and goes into its own goal without making contact with anybody. I know what the result of that is. That's stuck in my mind from referee training.
You can score directly from a kickoff.
How about
research
that?
Says.
Certainly not a recommended course of action from the kickoff, but it is a thing you can do. Boyce trying to keep this one in play, but it's escorted out for a goal kick.
Interestingly, marking from a kickoff, if the ball enters the kicker's goal on a kickoff, it's a corner kick. I don't know how that would ever happen, but that is in the laws. It would not be an own goal; it would be a corner kick for the other team.
Well, that's what happens with the scenario I brought up, which is if the keeper on a goal kick kicks the ball and it's in the air and it gets out of the penalty area and then a gust of wind pushes it back into that keeper's own goal, it's a corner kick.
Well, work to do here for the kickers, who haven't been particularly blessed with offense this year, other than that Tormenta game. They've struggled a little bit to score goals. They've only scored 5 goals in 6 games, but then half of League One's only scored 5 goals. Chattanooga, Madison now have another one. Lexington, Noco, Knoxville all came into tonight with only 5 goals scored. 3 of those came in one game. They've been shut out 3 times. Trying to find something to spark them here.
I think I'm hearing Happy Birthday being sung at Paladin Stadium for Tyler Polak.
Still won't say his age just yet.
That one will roll out for a goal kick.
It does begin with a 3. I'll give you that.
Don't miss a minute of the action in 2023. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of USL League One action on ESPN+, the home to the USL, La Liga, the Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today at plus.espn.com. Of course, the Bundesliga and other European leagues all nearing the end of their season, which means all of your soccer attention can be brought here to USL League One.
John Harkes' son Ian It's going to be an interesting end of the season for him, playing for Dundee United in the Scottish Premiership, and they're in real danger of being relegated. Still a few games to go there. Meanwhile, his sister Lauren played for the Greenville Liberty last night in their 2-0 win over FC Carolinas. Their first game of the season. Congrats to the Liberty. Marcella Helena with a brace in that one.
Yeah. I know Harks is telling us that several, if not many, of the players from this Greenville team were going to go to that game. Coutinho plays it back. McKinnon shoots. It goes off of Castro. As far as the Liberty are concerned, half the roster back.
Such a successful first season in the W League for the Liberty. Fell just short of winning the title.
Just pesky Tormenta again.
Still no goals in Lexington or Knoxville. No goals in Tennessee. 0-0 between Lexington and Charlotte. Still 0-0 between Knoxville and NOCO. They approach the same mark as we're at, late 30s.
Polak will stroll down that left sideline. His touch was a little bit too lackadaisical, though, trying to connect with Pilato. For those of you watching at the triple crossing in Richmond, I welcome you to tuning in. Not the start that they would be looking for at triple crossing, but either way, hope you're having a good time.
2 shots on target, Richmond, but only an XG of 0.07, so not particularly great scoring chances for the visitors so far. Still plenty of time left in this one, though. This man
certainly
can do magic things. Carton Dalmont.
It's a busy week for the Kickers, too. They've got North Carolina FC on the road on Wednesday, and then they play Lexington at home on Saturday. Talking to Darren Sawatsky about how he prepares for stretches like this where you have a bunch of games in a small window of time as they look to prod forward here. McKinnon stepping on that pass as Greenville push forward. Boyce making a run on the right-hand side. McKinnon's there with him. McKinnon provides the service, and it's headed straight upward.
One addition Liam McKinnon's been. We mentioned John Harks' knack for finding those college guys. We had Lachlan McLean, now retired from professional soccer. Obviously, Jacob Labovitz last season. Took him a little while to get going, but once he got going, my Lord, he had a great stretch there in the middle of the season. Now Liam McKinnon. It's not easy to find those. A lot of teams avoid the college players, Mark, especially the rookies. Omaha made a good success of it their first few years. So talked to Jay Mims about that. He loved to make them a part of his squad every year. Obviously proved to be very successful doing so.
Of course, Mims coming from the college game himself as a coach.
Where's Jay Mims, Mark? I haven't seen anything from him.
I believe I heard news, but I don't remember off the top of my head. That's one that I
may have missed it if I did.
Go to the internet for.
We'll do it while you're working hard here.
I'll mind the ship.
He's found himself a new gig yet. He resigned in December, and everybody was thinking, well, perhaps he found himself a job at the next level, but nothing has transpired as of yet. He was just enjoying some time off with the family. Just waiting for that next job, perhaps. Omaha are doing just fine without him. That base that he helped create there.
Certainly. So I was saying earlier about preparing for tough stretches as Belmar has it again. Belmar trying to get by Polak. That's a heat-seeking ball. Fall in the arms of Mazzola. Darren Sawatsky said when it comes to these stretches where you have a middle of the week game, prepared for that going from the preseason onward. He said that we know that there are a lot of Wednesday games throughout the year in USL League One, so just throughout the year we make sure our training sessions on Wednesday are more intense and more tasking, so then it's not as off-putting when you need to have a game on a Wednesday. So ultimately, when it's a week like this, it's just more matchup prep, and then of course you have to manage the minutes with a limited roster, which can be tough, especially when you go down to your depth. You got younger guys who don't have the flexibility of a savvy veteran to play in different spots and do different things.
Yeah, Richmond's certainly one of the teams that got hit a little harder than some with the CBA. Obviously raising the minimum wage for these players, which was a great thing, but with teams with a limited budget, Richmond have a lot shorter roster than last year, Greenville too. Some of the teams have managed to keep that larger roster. Obviously depends on how much money you're putting in to your program. And obviously Richmond's starting to get the youth thing going, starting really to work on that in the Richmond area. Darren would love to have that produce some serious talent from the Virginia area. Look at the success that NCFC has had. They have brought in a few talented players this season.
Yeah.
To add to that, perhaps limit some of the academy minutes, but Tormentor has obviously worked nicely for the defending champs. I'm sure down the road, every team would love to have an in-house academy producing talent. Obviously, eventually to be sold for most of these teams, right?
Schultz plays it in, it's parried right back to McKinnon, and he skies it.
And McKinnon wants that one back, just snatched it a little bit. Nice work down here on the right by Schultz. That was a clumsy bit of defending. McKinnon just sort of leaned back on his left foot and skied that one over Fitzgerald's bar. That could easily have been 3-0. Almost had time to bring it down, Mark, and even place that one. I don't think he realized how much time and space he did have, the rookie. Carolina was called for the foul.
Fan Scan Source is accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years. There'll be a free kick for the Richmond Kickers here.
Correct myself earlier, Mark. I think I did call Hugo Kamatani a former Union Omaha player. This is going back to the beginning of the game, but he's still with just not playing as much this season. When I said that, I was like, sure, I think he might still be there.
Service comes in, headed straight down.
Well, now I find out he might not be. I'm going to go with my guy originally. Kamatani maybe without club.
This is the learning process happening live here.
I haven't done an Omaha game yet this season. You and I were talking about how our games are spread out, and some teams we see more often than others.
Oh, yeah. Well, of course, Donnie Barnes has most of the Omaha games cornered. Of course, congrats to Donnie Barnes.
Congrats to the Barnes family.
Just had their first child.
If you don't follow Donnie on Twitter, you got to check him out. He's got a very sweet home sound studio.
Oh, yeah.
That he built in his own place.
Makes me jealous every time I see it.
He does some voiceover stuff as well as League One games with us. Man of many skills, Donnie Barnes.
Here come the Kickers. Can they find a goal before halftime?
You see how many Greenville players are packed between the numbers, we'll call it, on this football field. Forcing Richmond to the outside to crosses, which haven't been particularly successful so far tonight.
They haven't been the worst looking crosses, though. They just haven't been able to find something on the other end of the pass. But they'll get a corner kick.
65% possession, though, for the Kickers. 81.8% accuracy. It's only 64.6% for Greenville. John Hartz will certainly have something to say about that at the break to his boys.
Service comes in and it's headed away. Emphatically there by Brandon Fricke, the second goal scorer. And that's a touch. That will be wanted back there.
You hear the PA guy mentioning autograph night tonight.
Yeah.
Greenville Triumph. You and I were talking about that, Mark, tonight. If you'd ever given out an autograph.
I don't believe I have in earnest.
If you had any good autograph stories.
My brother had a signed football by Michael Vick prior to Michael Vick going to prison.
Good sentimental value, I think.
Yeah.
Perhaps still a good monetary value, but it perhaps dropped a little bit after that incident.
He did his time, though. Back out in the world doing good
I've only
things.
signed autographs once, and I was the press officer for the USA Baseball Youth National Team in Mexico, and the Mexican kids just love the USA boys, and it was the only time I ever signed an autograph. I'm trying to think if I have any good autograph stories. Tiger Woods once stiffed me at the Open Championship back in the day when he was a youngster.
Ah, come on, Tiger.
Before he was really, I want to say it was 99 maybe? Either 98 or 99. He was a big name at that time, but obviously nothing like what he was now, and I walked up to him and he stiffed me on a ball.
Wow.
That's all right, though.
He didn't realize who he was around.
If you say so, Mark. If you say so. He was a very focused lad as a teenager, obviously. A chance here for Richmond to get it into the mix, and Justin Suko to take this one.
Suko. And it's caught by Mazzola. The USL on ESPN continues as the summer heats up. Memphis 901 FC and Aaron Malloy head to the Valley of the Sun to face Manuel Arteaga and Phoenix Rising FC. It's Phoenix Rising FC and Memphis 901 FC Saturday, July 1st at 11 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Of course, Aaron Malloy, former League One guy with Forward Madison.
The most successful product from an independent team. I'm not going to count Ricardo Pepi. He obviously played for North Texas as part of FC Dallas's program. Aaron Malloy certainly has to be up there.
Yeah, he's done very well.
Independent products to make that leap to the USL Championship.
We're going to get 5 minutes of stoppage time brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep.
Who else is in the discussion there? Greg Hurst.
Greg Hurst.
He's been pretty solid.
Omaha striker. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Evan Conway's done pretty well
Conway's
at San
had
Diego
his
Loyal.
moments too, yes. Yeah, Omaha's probably produced at least a couple of them. Fullback whose name escapes me right now. Too many concussions.
Oh, Damia Villadair. Villadair's also done very well. I say Sac Republic. Yeah, he was part of that Open Cup run last year. This one will bounce out for a goal kick.
It's been a frustrating half for Darren Sawatsky, and it's been obviously the loss of Bonathan early. It's a big one, but not anything going too much in that final third. Haven't really threatened Jaron Mazzola's goal yet. Mazzola's looked comfortable. He's had to make a few solid claims.
I said their biggest chance so far was that Terzaghi breakaway.
And then the questionable penalty call, obviously, as well.
Yes.
Perhaps get another look at that at the half.
So this will go from one end to the other.
Halftime in Lexington. No score between Lexington and Charlotte. Approaching the half in Knoxville. Also scoreless there at UT between Knoxville and NOCO.
We're going to get a whistle here. I believe it's for head contact. Always got to be careful about those concussions and making sure that any player who suffers contact, whether it be from another player, from the ball in the head, that everything's all right upstairs. It's Carlton Belmar. We'll get assessed right now. I think we may have an angle of this.
May have been caught by a stray Tyler Pollack elbow, perhaps. The referee was right there, didn't call it. Certainly accidental on Typo's behalf.
He gives a grimace there.
He's feeling it. Trying to shake it off, shake off the cobwebs a little bit. We are at halftime in North Carolina as well as Knoxville. 1-0 Madison still.
Well, Well, you had a 1-in-4 shot of picking the game that had the most goals in the first 45 minutes here, and if you pick this game, then I guess you're a lucky winner.
Madison and NCFC have combined for 15 shots, 5 on target.
Jeez.
Just the 1 goal. Stats are pretty tight, 8-7. Shots in favor of Madison, 3-2 on goal in favor of NCFC. Lexington with 6 shots on target mark in the first half. Austin Pack continuing to play out of his mind.
Crazy.
Even though he got hurt in the last game. 6 saves in the first half there in Kentucky. I don't know why I said Lexington were in Tennessee earlier. I have no idea why I said that.
Oh yeah, you're right. That is very much Kentucky. I didn't even catch you on that, so
it's all right. When I lived in Knoxville, I remember it wasn't far. I used to see the interstate signs in Lexington. Maybe that's why I did live in Knoxville for a year.
There you go. I'll excuse you.
Chance here for Richmond to produce something in the final minute of this first half. Suko and O'Dwyer over it.
Played short, pinged in for Terzaghi. Tried to pinball it down the middle. Cleared away by Fricky again. So we're approaching the 5 minutes that was assessed, but of course we did have stoppage there to check on Carlton Belmar. That'll deflect off Schultz and out for a Richmond throw.
The 11 touches for Emiliano Terzaghi in the first half, Mark. What Richmond fans want to see, although obviously he only needs 1 to turn a match on its head.
And he's one of those guys who can not be visible for a lot of the game, and then suddenly his name is on the score sheet.
Missing Bolaños and Bryant, though, there's no doubt about that, as well as Neil Vignals out tonight, their most creative midfielder. Out for a 3rd straight game.
This one back inside! The flag goes up, though. And just like that, though, that's the kind of thing Terzaghi can do.
Yeah. It's a dangerous one. Let's take another look at it. Around Terzaghi. Floating around the 6-yard box there. Yes. At least half a yard offside, but what a finish.
That is.
I know Mazzola probably heard the whistle before that, but still. Though nothing in Terzaghi really impresses me anymore because you've seen it all from him, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's just Emmy being Emmy.
If there's a way to score a goal, Emiliano Terzaghi, you assume, is capable of doing it.
He's done the goal.
At this point, we just wait for whenever Alvin Aliva decides that this game has reached its first half conclusion. Goal from Lucas Coutinho as this service comes in and sails over the head of Terzaghi. Aliva looks at his watch. And that's where his whistle will be blown. Lucas Coutinho with a banger of a goal in the 3rd minute. And then the advantage doubled off a corner kick after it got by Akira Fitzgerald, and Brandon Fricky breaks down his first goal of the season in his first start of the season. Greenville feeling really good, up 2-0 for the 2nd game in a row going into halftime. Just a great first half from the home side, looking for payback against Richmond earlier this season. And that is where we will find our conclusion for the first 45 minutes of action. Our halftime show is coming up next after this break. We'll see you on the other side on ESPN+.
This is no sleepy-headed, moving in reverse kind of state. We're home to barrier-breaking humans who took $7 billion and invested it in microchips, potato chips, nope, education. This investment, it builds jobs and more jobs where people create things like flying, not that. Who does all this? Forward-thinking pilgrims of change, like you. South Carolina. Now that's smart.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location,
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
This is usually the part where I say let's go back and look at last Saturday's highlights, but we're actually going back to Friday when we had 3 games, and Friday alone is when we had matches last week on the weekend in USL League One. Kind of odd, but it is what it is. Second minute, Emiliano Terzaghi, a rare missed chance. We'd also see a missed chance on this side for Union Omaha. Worth noting, though, the Richmond faithful came out in throws once again. 5,418 fans in attendance. The Red Army continues to impress, but this one would be scoreless throughout. There would be 3 corner kicks at the end of the game for Darren Sawatzky's side. One in the 86th, the 89th, and the 90th minute. All genuine chances, but due to Rashid Nuhu's acrobatics and a little bit of help from the woodwork, this game would end up 0-0, including this final chance in the 90th minute. Nathan Ani gets the header in the 86th minute. It's stopped by Nuhu, but this one, it's all frame denying Nathan Ani there. 0-0 your final score. Once again, kudos to that Richmond crowd because they came out over 5,000 people. Just incredible on that front. Meanwhile, in other places in League One, we had the League One final rematch from last season, of course. 12 starters in this game were not part of their respective rosters on these 2 teams in the championship game last season. 6 apiece for these 2 sides. But a fantastic goal here from Pedro Fonseca in the 42nd minute. Break out the scalpel, some excellent passing, great work done. And Fonseca just has to slice it home to give the reigning champs the advantage. 1-0 on the road against Chattanooga. And they would double it here with a couple of players who were with their rosters last season. Mukwele Akale shrugging off Olefi, 2 guys who were in that game last season. And then Ryan Sierakowski, longtime League One man, curling it home. Top shelf, gets the job done. He was also with Tormenta last season, and Tormenta would win the game 2-0 over the Chattanooga Red Wolves, solidifying their spot as the winners in that game last season, and also the 3rd team this year to reach double-digit in points with 12. Meanwhile, speaking of double-digit teams, North Carolina FC top of the table against bottom of the table Central Valley Fuego. A little bit of hackiness here in the 32nd minute. But like most North Carolina FC goals, it ends with Rafa Menzigan. That is goal number 6 on the season for Rafa. Far and ahead, the leader in the Golden Boot race. Twice as many as any other striker in USL League One, including that man embracing him there, Luis Perez, who got his 3rd goal right here in fantastic fashion on a free kick. 10 out of 10. No recommendations there for Luis Perez. Just keep doing that, and he'll have a ton more goals this season. North Carolina FC wins the game. Sole top of the table for them. Meanwhile, for the bottom table Central Valley Fuego, 3rd straight game with the red card, becoming a really bad pattern for this team over in Fresno. Abdul Razak Cromwell would be the one getting sent off in this one. But after all said and done, North Carolina FC wins, and Fuego has some things to answer. That's all for highlights. We'll see you on the other side from this break on ESPN+.
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Sometimes the ball doesn't bounce your way. Sometimes you feel alone, like your world is collapsing, like there's no hope. But you're not alone. Someone is there to listen, to talk, to help you up. The United Soccer League is proud to support the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, because everyone needs support.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know,
Welcome back to Halftime, brought to you by Warehouse Services Incorporated. Mark Schoenster alongside me, Ross Davenport here. Let's first take a look at the news and notes from around USL League One, starting with Player of the Month, Rafa Menzigen. Fun fact, first midfielder in league history to account for 5 or more goals in a month. Now, Ross, I'm going to ask you this, though. Would you consider Rafa a midfielder?
Certainly an attacking midfielder, Mark, but congrats to Rafa. He's been one of those guys that all the coaches rave about and really informed to start this 2023 season.
And as we talked about already, Liam McKinnon, Player of the Week, confidence in a good spot. Let's take a look at the standings around USL League One coming into this weekend. Of course, these will be active and changing as today's games go along, brought to you by Hopkins Eye Center. But Greenville and Richmond at this point in time, both very solidly in a good spot.
It's actually a little more spread out, Mark, than I perhaps thought it would be at this point in the season, but there's still teams with only 4 games played, like Noco, some with 8, so still lots of stories to play out.
And runs of form to be had by teams, whether they be at the top or the bottom. The seasons always end up being crazy here. As we talk about the seasons and the slate coming up, here's our USL on ESPN slate. Our first one of the season is actually happening right now on ESPN2, Louisville City hosting Miami. A couple other good games coming up on the docket, too.
Yeah, well, certainly a great one to start with tonight. And then Detroit City, Louisville, always a nice matchup later in July.
Yeah, and if you're interested in tuning into that game while this game is on, maybe you could put us on your laptop, your phone, then you can switch your TV on over to ESPN2. Get a little double dosage of USL action here today, this wonderful Saturday evening. But with that in mind, we'll take a brief step aside. When we come back, we'll have the highlights, the stats, and of course, the much-awaited second half of action here between the Kickers and the Greenville Triumph.
At Piedmont Natural Gas, being a part of the communities we serve is important to us, because to us, community begins with you. We strive to address the needs of our communities by investing time and resources to help improve the quality of life for our customers. For over 60 years, we have funded programs that support education, the environment, and community impact. Our Energy Assistance Program, Share the Warmth, helps customers pay their energy bills. We're committed to helping our neighbors by powering the vitality of our communities.
It's not about building a home in just 30 hours for a deserving family with Habitat for Humanity, or about building homes for a national television competition. It's about building memorable experiences with our community, team members, and trade partners that will last for a lifetime. Hunter Quinn Homes, building the difference.
This is no sleepy-headed, moving in reverse kind of state. We're home to barrier-breaking humans who took $7 billion and invested it in microchips, potato chips, nope, education. This investment, it builds jobs and more jobs where people create things like flying, not that. Who does all this? Forward-thinking pilgrims of change, like you. South Carolina. Now that's smart.
Fifth Third Bank. Yeah, it's a quirky name. But here's the thing. 5/3 equals 166.7%. So we put 166.7% into everything we do. Like automatically getting you your paycheck up to 2 days early. Giving you well-deserved extra time to avoid overdraft fees. And helping you borrow from your future self. This is banking a Fifth Third better.
This USL League One broadcast is presented by Warehouse Services Incorporated, proud sponsor of the Greenville Triumph. As we welcome you back to League One action here, as we look at the highlights between the Richmond Kickers and the Greenville Triumph from the first 45 minutes of action. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport here. Free kick one, 3 minutes into the game by Lucas Coutinho. Under 3 minutes into the game, actually. He ends up winning the free kick and ends up getting the go-ahead to take it, and take it he does.
Yeah, just a little too much physicality from Nathan Orney on the free kick. What a finish by Lucas Coutinho as he continues his hot streak.
Just sliding in that bottom right corner. Of course, I hate to hesitate to say it, but kind of looked like Kevin De Bruyne last week in the Champions League as Brandon Fricke puts one home here. Fun fact about Brandon Fricke I just wanted to bring up, Ross. I apologize for interrupting.
No, you're fine. There's just going to be a lot to talk about on this goal, I think. Tevin Shaw certainly made big-time contact with Nathan Orney in the vicinity of where that ball was delivered. Whether it had an impact on the goal is to be decided. We'll never really know, but...
Shout out League One Twitter with the fun fact. Brandon Fricke, the third player to have a goal in all 5 USL League One seasons. Of course, not all of them with the Greenville Triumph. He spent the first year with Lansing. As we look at the halftime stats, brought to you by Warehouse Services Incorporated. That possession number is shocking.
Kickers with 2/3 of the possession, but really not much to show for it. They haven't really forced anything serious out of Jared Mazzola in the Triumph goal. We'll see if Darren Swatsky could work his magic at the break, get these boys going.
Of course, that injury to Dakota Barnathan is going to take some wind out of the sails. Such a big piece of that back line, a back line that's been so good this season. You mentioned in the first half the center back pairing between Ani and Barnathan, as Chandler O'Dwyer, who got his first professional start, wasn't incredibly active in that first half, is going to make his way off the pitch, and Owain Gordon will come in, someone with a little bit more experience.
Owain for O'Dwyer.
Yeah.
Certainly give that man right there, birthday boy Tyler Polak, a little more to think about. I don't know which side Gordon goes. You see a flip, I'm not sure. Did we say who the other two with goals in every League One season were?
No, they did not, and I'm trying to now think about it.
This is it. To look at the...
I mean, Keegan's probably another one.
Yes. Yeah, probably Jake Keegan, you're right.
And then, I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, it's not a large list of players who have played every single season, because Terzagi's not in that list because he didn't come in until 2020. To have scored this season, so I think that'd be the best way to look at it, is to see who has scored this year.
Valid.
They'll help cut down on the potential options. Second half underway. Greenville with a comfortable advantage to start off the second 45. Richmond won this game 1-0 back in March. The first meeting between these two sides. It was the stadium opener at Paladin Stadium for the Greenville Triumph. That bounces out for a goal kick. Mazzola hasn't had an incredibly busy day so far, except for that weird juggling act he did in the first half.
Is Aaron Walker the other one, Mark? Has he scored in every season? I don't know if he scored.
Aaron Walker might be the other one, which is it's kind of wild to think about that two of those players. Actually, all three of them.
You focus on the game. I'm kidding, obviously. But I can do both at the same time.
That would be crazy to think about, though, if all three players have a tie to the Greenville Triumph, if not have played the majority of their time with the Greenville Triumph. Keegan, of course, with one Knoxville, had 2 separate stints with the Greenville Triumph.
No, Aaron Walker did not score in 2020. So it's not him.
That's the tricky year, I think. That's the one that is definitely going to siphon out the players. Floats forward and into the hands of one Jared Mazzola.
Richmond have tried to go direct at times tonight. It really hasn't worked as yet, though. Certainly now with those 2 physical men on the outside, Gordon and Valmine, try to get them in the box and on the end of some of those long balls.
Just get the better of a defender in a 50-50 situation. That was Nate Schultz getting the better in that situation right there. Castro trying to point some instructions to McKinnon as he had the ball at his feet. And we're going to get a PNC's corner for kids.
Don Smart the answer, Mark?
Don Smart is probably the answer. That's probably the correct answer.
Considering he did take a lot of penalties.
I know he scored this year. Yeah.
Let's see if I can confirm that. It is in fact Don Smart.
That would make Don Smart the first person then, because he did it the
scored
first
8 goals in 2019. You forget that. 8 in 2019, 1 in 2020, 2 in 2021, 2 in 2022, and 1 this season. So they do all still have connections with Green. If we can confirm JK, which I'm pretty sure.
Coutinho with the ball inside. Shaw winding around. Shaw still going. His shot deflects away. Now they're going to have a whistle blow that play dead anyway. If it is Jake Keegan, then the 2 goals scored to solidify that fact this year both happened in the same game, because Keegan scored after Don Smart in that Knoxville-Lexington game to start the year.
This is Jake Keegan. 9 in 2019, 5 in 2020, 6 in 21, 2 last year, 2 this year.
And there you have it. There's your USL Trivia Deep Dive with Mark Schoenster and Ross Davenport.
We don't get paid any extra for that.
No.
But it keeps me entertained. We love our League One tidbits like that. Just mentioned. I think we mentioned it, yeah, but John Harkes, well, Greenville becoming the first team to 50 wins.
Both regular season and combined in the postseason prior to that. If I have the counting correctly, Darren Sawatsky has 35 wins as a coach in USL League One, and that counts his 2 Sundays.
I say the Greenville offense has been pretty quiet, Mark, since mid first half. Their last on-target shot was back in the 16th minute from Devin Boyce. They've only got 3 shots on target. 2 of them have gone in. Richmond's defense, even with the loss of Dakota Barnathan, has been solid. Just haven't been able to get things quite going in the other half yet. Certainly 1 goal from them would change this game. We have Matt Bentley on the bench, as well as Olsen, Pavone. All guys that can produce offense. See how long Darren waits to make further changes, if he does.
Remember you talking to Darren Sawatsky this week about the offense, and he said that we're getting into the final third, getting touches and creating. We know that this lack of goals scored won't last forever because the chances are there. And they've continued to find those crosses into the 18 here today. They haven't resulted in true challenges of Jared Mazzola for the most part. But certainly with about 40 minutes to go in this game, ample time for the engines to get going. That's a ball going through, a nice ball, and it's deflected away by Boyce, and he continues to fight for it. We'll go out for a corner kick.
Corner kick for Richmond.
Suko will be the one to take the corner kick on the left-hand side. Ball swings in, skipped around a couple times. Retrieved by Fitch, and his effort goes off the face of Nate Schultz. And are they pleased to have him back?
One of Nathan Orney's trademark long throws again here. Looking for some big targets there in the box. Obviously no Barnathan, but Gordon and Belmar, both over 6 foot. Or close to it at least.
Punched up by Mazzola and away. There's Aguio with it. Able to parry it out wide. Can it be kept in by Gordon? It is. Gordon taps it back, but it gets by his man. And that's a loose ball that'll bounce out of bounds. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesday nights at 7 Eastern. Plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, English Premier League, and more. All on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SXM app.
Wayne Gordon's only listed as 5'9", Mark. He plays much bigger than that.
Yeah, looking down at my player here, I was shocked to see that. So we got a Greenville substitution coming up. This one will roll into the hands of one Jared Mazzola.
Early substitution in the second half here for Greenville. Appears Leo Castro will depart. John Harkes did mention dealing with a slight groin injury over the last couple of weeks with a 2-0 lead. Get Jacob Labovitz on there. He's a man that's tortured Richmond in the past. We'll see if that is the substitution coming up here. We next get a dead ball.
And he had the hat trick at City Stadium last season.
He's found himself as a backup role to start 2023 behind Castro. So Castro getting up there a little bit.
Now talking about birthdays, Castro had his birthday yesterday. And we'll go a similar route with Tyler Polak. We'll just wish him a happy birthday and leave it at that. And so that'll be the end of his night. And in comes Jacob Labovitz. This Greenville Triumph sub is presented by Spinks. So Labovitz from Great Falls, Virginia, will come in to play the Virginia-based team. Again, no Aaron Walker today after sustaining an injury in that game against Charlotte, in a game which he had the injury, stepped off the pitch, then came back in and scored a goal.
He did.
I asked John Harkes what was going through his head during that span of time, that window, and he said, well, you trust your vets, and he told me to hold on and to trust him. So I did, and it takes a lot of trust to do that, especially because we were down a man against the Charlotte Independents, who at the time, I believe, were tied for top of the table. And you know what? It ended up paying off. Like you said, fantastic goal from Aaron Walker.
I know it sounds weird to say, but other than the 2 goals, this game's pretty even in the center of the park. The team has really been able to take control in the midfield. Coutinho's had his moments. Zaka Moran does such a great job of stuffing things up in the middle, making things difficult for teams in that department of the pitch.
Polak with some space. Plays it forward for Labovitz. Just stepped into the game, having to work through 2 players there. He's able to get the ball, but in retreating fashion. This ball will bounce forward and into the hands of Akira Fitzgerald. Morant plays it over to Ani.
Got 2 goals in quick succession in Knoxville, both by the visitors. Trevor Ammon and Billy King, 5 minutes apart, giving Noco a 2-0 lead against 1 Knoxville. Halfway through, just coming up to halfway through the second half there at UT.
Knoxville, the next team that the Greenville Triumph will play. Will also be here at Paladin Stadium.
Still 0-0 in Lexington for Madison. Still with that 1-0 lead at NCFC. That would be a great result for Madison as they try to remain undefeated. Arthur Rogers with one of the assists for Noco. Here is a chance here for Richmond.
Gordon making his way down the pitch. Plays it centrally, and it's cleared away.
Around by Gordon. All the pace in the world.
Hornsby with a good ball forward for Belmar. Belmar back centrally, and that one's blasted into the roof. Richmond win one back.
Nathan Horney, the center back, just finding himself at the penalty spot. It's been the brightest offensive spark for Richmond tonight. And as you would have predicted, the good stuff coming from Michael Hornsby. Suko slips it through, pull back by Belmar, and nobody within a couple of yards of Nathan Horney. That's a composed finish for a center back for sure. A goal would certainly make this one interesting, Mark.
That goal has been found. Ani with goal number 2 on the year. Of course, that's not the manner in which you would anticipate a goal from the center back. But hey, he's multifaceted. He's at times played in more of a holding midfield spot for Richmond in times past, when they've needed him in that spot.
One of those Washington guys that Darren Sawatsky loves. Darren Sawatsky spent time with Sounders U23. Loves his hard-nosed guys from the Northwest. Nathan Horney, very talented.
He's got the duo right there in the center back spots right now with Ani and Chris Cole, both from that Seattle Sounders Academy U23 stratosphere. And they're feeling momentum right now. Hornsby still with it. And Mazzola is able to fall on top of that ball. A strike while the iron is hot if you're the Richmond Kickers. And Ani had several chances at the end of that Omaha game to give them 3 points. Couldn't quite get it to go through. Ask Darren Sawatsky if after a game like that, do you put more emphasis on set piece training that week, and he said, well, set pieces are such a crucial part of our identity, and we do a lot of due diligence to focus on them each week. So no, we didn't tack on any extra corner kick work or anything along those lines.
Darren Samatsky, such a character. Shout out to Darren, raising money for breast cancer research in the Virginia area. His wife Ginny battling breast cancer at the moment. You can go and chip in. Check out Darren's social media presence.
Certainly a fight we can all get behind. Kickers finding a goal in the 59th minute. Nathan Awney having the deficit.
Knoxville to pull one back, marked 2-1 now in Tennessee. Similar to this one here. They're the home team in that game. It's now down the left here for Richmond.
Gordon in the corner.
Goal's given them certainly some confidence to push some more bodies forward. Greenville really haven't threatened since mid of that first half.
You're right.
Fitzgerald hasn't had to do a lot. So now perhaps Darren Swatsky smelling blood, pushing some guys further forward, saying, hey, if you want to come beat us on the counter, Greenville, go ahead.
Tonight's +0 safe driver of the match. Tonight's winner is Susan Ficus. Congratulations, Susan. And
this is
thank you for taking
Awney lofting territory. Just scored a goal, and now wouldn't mind throwing assist here.
+0 safe driver of the match. As a reminder, alcohol sales will end.
Ball comes in, and it'll get booted out by Noah Pilato.
Jake Keegan with a penalty. The aforementioned Jake Keegan after a handball by Breck Evans. Knoxville having a deficit there as Tevin Shaw is down. Seems to be in some discomfort. That would be a big loss for Greenville. Evan Lee telling the training staff to stay on the sideline. Shaw appears to be all right. Sneaky good off signing for John Harkes. John Perman, who used to play for FC Tucson, would rave about Tevin Shaw. His ball winning ability at the 6th spot. Missed him last season at times due to injury.
So Tucson going down to League Two. A lot of those talented players from FC Tucson finding their homes in different places in League One.
Yeah, Louis Perez doing very well.
Oh yeah.
It's a very talented side that John Perman had. Just didn't quite win enough games. Had that great run to finish 2021.
So 2 more substitutions coming for the Greenville Triumph. They won't take place yet because they got a drop ball. But next dead ball, I think we'll be seeing, I think, a much-needed substitution. The likes of Alan Gavilanes coming into the game. I think the Triumph offensively need something new going forward. Like you said, it's been a bit static for a good 30 or so minutes. Meanwhile, especially now that Richmond have got one back. Call on Jacob Labovitz there, getting a little bit too physical. So Alex Cox-Ashwood will come into the game for Tevin Shaw. And Liam McKinnon will make his way, and Alan Gavilanes will come in instead. These substitutions presented to you by Spinks.
Interesting to see where Cox-Ashwood slots in. Obviously not a 6 like Shaw. Right. Pilato perhaps drops back a little deeper. Gavilanes having a discussion about some tactics with Tyler Pola. Tevin Shaw slowly makes his way off. Just coming back from injury. Hope he's all right.
The Frenchman, Alex Cox-Ashwood, come in his stead, and surely some things will be switched around. That substitution, once again, brought to you by Spinks. Belmar gets that one to deflect off of the newly subbed in Alan Gavilanes.
Gavilanes is going to have to prove himself now with this rookie pushing him for that left wing spot. And he's one of the best one-on-one dribblers in the league. So good at causing chaos, getting around the back.
Good throw from Awney. It's still in there. That one punched away emphatically by Mazzola. And the offside flag will go up, and it'll be a free kick for Greenville. You think this goes to more of a 4-1-4-1 for Greenville?
Looks like, we'll see if Devin Boyce perhaps drifts inside Ashwood out on that wing, perhaps. Yeah, I mean, Greenville always a 4-1-4-1 team in possession, right? 4-2-3-1 out of possession. There's 3 central midfielders going to sort of rotate, go on some runs themselves. It's 2-0 Madison, Mark.
Wow. Madison up to this point, again, worth mentioning, undefeated. A lot of draws, though. I think trying to make their presence known in League One this season with the win here.
The big Aussie, Mitch Osmond, with the second goal for the Mingos. That would be a big statement win for the men from Wisconsin.
That would put them into double-digit points at 10, should they maintain that result. And they'd be 3-0-4 if that occurs. This ball coming in. Lee plays up the pitch once again, trying to find Gavilanes, but it'll harmlessly bounce out of bounds.
Definitely looks like Cox Ashwood out to the right wing. Let's see where so Devin Boyce pitching in. Him and Pilato will sit behind Coutinho.
Ani making his way forward again.
And possessed, Mark. That's another one.
Belmar. Polak there with his arms behind his back. This is a little bit precarious. Fitzgerald with a sure touch. Calm things down for the kickers.
Kier's so good with his feet. One of the best aspects of his game. He never worried when that ball's coming back to him, even at pace.
He softens it like a pillow.
He does.
Mentioned that Aaron Walker goal from that last game, and something that after that goal happened live immediately popped to my head, that Aaron Walker, Noah Pilato, Lucas Coutinho, all these guys in the spine of this Greenville team capable of scoring from the top of the 18 from some distance. I asked John Harks how much of a luxury is it to have such a bevy of players who can all pull that off. And he said, well, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and, well, I encourage those guys to take those shots. And one name that I didn't list and he wanted to mention was that he thinks Tevin Shaw can do it too. So just all the way up the center of that pitch as this one's threaded through for Coutinho. Labovitz can't get by Akira Fitzgerald, but it wouldn't matter anyway. It's offside. And Richmond will quickly push it the other direction. Moran. Two goals in the first half of the Greenville triumph. Nathan Ani with a response here in the second for Richmond.
Really starting to control possession again like they did in the first half. Their XG still only 0.16 though. Chizagi just lurking there, Mark. You know he's just lurking and waiting for that pounce on that. Perhaps a mistake from Greenville, just that one.
All it takes is one
good
moment.
Final ball. You see me trying to get involved. The ball now. We got a goal in Lexington.
Richmond.
It's the newbies. Joao Gamiro looking for the diagonal run. Lexington have taken the lead against Charlotte.
Had all those shots on goal in the first half. Lucas Coutinho is now down on the ground. Gamiro giving him some help. He's up and good to go, though.
Balogun with the goal for
nice,
Lexington. This is a good sign for Greenville. Lucas Coutinho down.
I believe that's goal number 2 on the year for Khalid Balogun, correct?
I think so.
Be a big win for Lexington, currently tied for last with 4 points, but they can get all 3 at home against the Jacks. That would be massive for the new side.
Greenville being short on the bench. The only substitute options they have at the moment are defenders. Not that 5 at the back would be a terrible option right now for John Marks, but still 20 minutes to go and you're only up by 1. So I hate to lose your attacking midfielder. Polak could perhaps jump into defensive midfield. Maybe Daniel Wu. He's got the athleticism. He hasn't played there yet as a professional. See if Coutinho is able to finish this one out.
Coutinho's going to make his way back onto the pitch, at least for the moment. Lee taking it forward. Bolañez getting bodied off that ball. Ultimately, it'll fall back to the feet of the Triumph. Gordon. He'll tear down that left-hand side. And that sliding challenge will go out for a Richmond throw. The USL's committed to caring for the mental health of our players, fans, communities. We'll finish that thought here in a moment as this one trickles through. And it'll get fallen on top of by Mazzola. As I was saying, the USL's committed to caring for the mental health of our players, fans, and communities. The Need Support campaign includes a partnership with the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, a free confidential support line for anyone having thoughts of suicide or experiencing a mental health crisis. Need support? Call or text 988.
Rhythm the River Ice Cook over.
Yeah, I see you bobbing over there. This one brought down. Cox Ashwood pokes it inside, and Akira Fitzgerald will collect it.
Charlie Dennis, former Tormenta FC Tucson man, with a goal for Tampa Bay tonight in the USL Championship, 4-1 lead over Detroit City early in the second half there.
He's got a couple goals this season.
J.J. Williams with a hat-trick for the Rowdies.
That's another player that we didn't bring up earlier when talking about independent players who are making it work in the championship. Charlie Dennis.
He's done well. Left foot.
I'd say he's a master of just hitting the ball. Like, he can just connect.
No late games in League One tonight, but a ton of late games in the championship this evening.
Lavovich trying to rise up there, 6'2" to Kira Fitzgerald's 5'11". Of course, Fitzgerald has the glove advantage.
He does. Every team in the championship in action today. You've got 7 late games after 9:30 Eastern tonight. So plenty of action in the championship after this one.
Gavolañez tries a shot and will win the corner kick. Able to deflect that one off of Simon Fitch for a PNC's corner for kids. 15 minutes to go, plus whatever stoppage time is tacked on. Gavolañez from that left corner flag. Play it short to Coutinho. He'll hold it. Nice back heel from Coutinho. Gavolañez with the curling cross. And that'll be another corner kick.
This one Bonias can do is a lovely curling ball, teasing at the far post. Just couldn't get a Greenville player on the end of it.
He's trying to connect with Alex Cox-Ashwood. That's a connection between probably the two most exciting players with the ball at their feet for Greenville, Alan Gavilanes and Lucas Coutinho. This PNC's corner for kids, another chance for Greenville to extend their lead. From the right corner this time, it's Gavilanes. He'll play it short again, once again to Coutinho. Take three. We got a whistle from Alden Oliva. This PNC's corner for kids. Third one in succession here. And it'll be taken in similar fashion. Pilato floats it in. Headed up by Fricky. Punched away by Fitzgerald. Fricky tries to pull a fast one. And then that one will go off of Cox-Ashwood and out for a goal kick. Big key to success for teams in soccer, but in sports in general, is that sort of team bond, team chemistry aspect of things. And Darren Sawatsky, I know, is a firm believer in that aspect of the game, and he's always told us how meticulous he is about bringing players into Richmond and that they have to be a fit character-wise, or else it could mess up the culture he's built. As they've got a chance to go forward, this shot suffers a deflection.
Yeah, Harks is another culture guy. I'm sure this is the thing that a lot of coaches do say, but I really do believe these two, just having talked to them right over the last few years, they do really believe in. Listen, you can't pay a ton of money in the USL League One. There's going to be guys that haven't played at higher levels, but you don't want to bring in that guy that has if he's going to be somebody that is a cancer in the locker room, right? You want to find those guys that are going to contribute culturally as well.
Coutinho with a nice turn. He'll break it forward. He's got nowhere to go though. Maybe put on the theatrics there as that challenge will bounce off of Boyce, but he is down still.
And he's cramping again.
Now might be the time to get Lucas Coutinho out of the game, although, as we previously mentioned, not a perfect fit for him coming off the bench, as Emiliano Terzaghi will make way for Matthew Bentley, and Luke Pavone will come in for Carlton Belmar. Need a goal, and they're going to need it not from Terzaghi. And David Olsen will also come in for Gamiro.
Dan Sawatsky throwing everything, absolutely everything at this one now with these substitutions. Though interestingly, Terzaghi coming off in a one-goal game. So it likely means that Matt Bentley will get to play more of his natural position of 9. Struggling a little bit out on the wing so far this season. It's a good time for him to pop up and tie this game as Coutinho tries to shake off this cramp.
Pitch and sink time effectively for the kickers, substitution-wise.
It is a humid night in Greenville tonight, 93%. I was looking at Richmond. That one.
Yeah, I believe they're in the 80s in Greenville.
68% humidity. High 70s now. Obviously, Coutinho feeling the work he's put in tonight. We'll see if he can last the distance or not. John Harks with a decision to make there for sure.
Zola will do everything he can to take some time off the clock here. Boyce heads this one down centrally. That's well popped forward. Gavilanes with Fitch. That's a good cross. It's headed away. Brought down. Boyce nearly got the shot off, but he was bulldozed into.
Good work defensively there by Olsen, I think it was, with the big block. And Boyce.
Moran. Long ball forward. Headed away by Polak. Collected forward. Suko with the ball now. Plays it out wide to Gordon. Gordon enters the 18 and gets a deflection, and it almost goes in, and then it does! A second effort and a second goal for the Richmond Kickers. We are all tied up at 2 apiece.
It's Luke Pavone off the bench. What an impact. Or whatever you want to call it. Defender, forward, he can do it all. Got denied at the death in the last game, but not on this one. Great work down the left here. It's a cross that perhaps shouldn't have got through. He got a little slight deflection, and that threw off. And you won't find an easier finish for Luke Pavone. See if you can see the little deflection here that may have just thrown things off a little bit with Fricky.
Not sure if Bentley made any contact with him there, but Bentley's work caused the mistake from Fricky. Goes off the post, and Luke Pavone plays cleanup. You said it, defender, striker, longtime Richmond kicker, Luke Pavone. It's his 5th year with the club. He's been here all 5 seasons of USL League One. Stuck around after Darren Sawatsky took over. And I remember asking about him a couple years ago, and Darren Sawatsky just called him an absolute competitor in training and said that when they play, I remember 5-a-side or 3-a-side in training, that Luke Pavone was always on the winning team. Of course, that was a couple years ago when I talked to him about Luke Pavone. Just has always stuck around.
It's his first goal for the Richmond Kickers in nearly 60 appearances. Congrats to Luke Pavone, and what a time to pop up and tie this game as Greenville get punished for not doing enough after taking that 2-0 lead. Again, their last shot was a long time ago.
Getting
on
checked
target
on again.
anyway. The last shot on target was back in the 16th minute by Devin Boyce. Still just 3 shots on target for Greenville, and 2 of them ended up in the back of the net. John Hawks is going to have to make a decision here with Lucas Coutinho, because it's the 3rd time he's been down here.
Certainly true, but now that the game's all tied up once again, Lucas Coutinho is not exactly the guy you want to take off the pitch.
No, not with your lack of offensive contributors on the bench at the moment.
We were talking about culture a little bit earlier. I think Luke Pavone is definitely one of the huge culture guys at Richmond, even if he's not a guy who always gets the most playing time.
Daniel Wu has scored this season.
Ball played over the right-hand side. Can it be kept in? Yes, it can. It's a good effort. Gavilanes tracks down the loose touch after the fact. Labovic switches the pitch. But tracking back, Wayne Gordon. How about that effort?
It doesn't matter which way you're running, pace is pace, Mark. He got back beautifully there to deny that ball to Cox Ashwood. Richmond certainly at this point look like the more likely team to take this one and the 3 points. Certainly more dangerous here in the last 15 minutes.
Been more dangerous the entire half. Here's Gordon again. Shakes by Schultz. Top of the 18. Suko inside. Bentley holding it up. Bentley tries to shoot. Still scuffling about. That's well done.
Nathan Only continues to play well.
This portion of the match brought to you by ScanSource, accelerating growth for partners and calling Greenville home for 30 years. Chip ball over to the right-hand side. Fitch. And the Kickers find a 3rd goal in the second half. Owain Gordon. It's the throw in here. Worth noting, Greenville Triumph unbeaten in their last 13 League One matches when leading at halftime. This one's punched up. Mazzola then collects it. This dates back all the way to July 18th of 2021. That was a game they lost at home against Tormenta in a 3-2 result, which is what I'm sure Richmond are fetching for right now.
Yeah, remember that game well.
Yeah, Marco Micheletto, if I remember correctly, left an impact on that one.
Greenville with just one shot period in the second half. Just kind of trying to meekly sit on that 2-0 lead. It's come back to haunt them. This Richmond defense has been so strong this season. And gave up those 2 early goals. One certainly a little questionable. Just hung around in this game, as you'd like to do on the road. Trying to escape with a point here, if not 3.
Especially if before the season started, if you told Darren Sawatsky in 2 road trips to Greenville you'd get 4 points.
Take that in a heartbeat.
I think you're very pleased with that. Bentley breaking forward. Why not all 6? Pavone, though, couldn't bring that one in. That was a dangerous clearance from Schultz. Owain Gordon was trying to intercept that one.
Shout out to Chris Cole, who obviously came in early in this game after the injury to Dakota Barnathan and played a big part in the shutdown of Greenville since then.
Hornsby will tap it back. Here's Cole now. Polak for Labovitz, who tries to head that one on. Couple of tight connecting passes there. Cox Ashwood bring it all the way to the corner. He's able to squeeze that one out.
Great work there by Cox Ashwood to keep that one in play. I thought for sure it was going to roll out for a corner.
Bentley bumped off the ball there. Minutes nearly transpired. A tale of 2 halves. Bentley has that one deflected into the hands of Mazzola. A goal in the 3rd minute off a beautiful set piece from Coutinho. In the 27th minute, Brandon Fricke became the 3rd player in League One to score in all 5 seasons off a corner kick. And in the second half, Nathan Ani in the 59th minute roofs one. And then Luke Pavone recently, in a bit of a scattering, was able to get a ball off the post, go in. So now we're going to get a substitution. Lucas Coutinho makes his way off, and Daniel Wu will come in. That substitution brought to you by Spinks.
Actually scored already this season. It was a late goal, ended up being a meaningless goal.
And we're going to get 6 minutes of stoppage time. And this one will bounce out for a corner kick. Stoppage time brought to you by Engineered Sleep, the best handmade mattresses in town. Visit engineeredsleep.com for better sleep.
Lexington have held on for the 3 points against Charlotte.
Huge win.
The 2nd win of the season.
And now it's a PNC's corner for kids. Alan Gavilanes looking to orchestrate a reclaiming of the lead, a lead they've had for the majority of this game. Service is in. headed up, and trying to get crazy with it was Devin Boyce, but I think that boot came up rather high, near a couple of faces as well. Currently split even at 8 shots apiece.
Yeah, if this game does finish 2-2, I think John Harkes will be a little disappointed. His team really did put this game away with that third goal. You have to give credit, as I mentioned, to that Greenville back line. This man, Akirius Fitzgerald, Zaka Moran, just really limiting Greenville to scraps. Especially after that second goal, Boyce is slowly back to his feet. Passing accuracy of 61% is not going to win you many games, Mark. That's Greenville's total tonight. 78.8% for Richmond. So the average is about in the high 70s for passing accuracy. That tells you how sloppy Greenville have been with the ball tonight. It's also a final in Knoxville. NOCO hold on for the 2-1 win over 1 Knoxville.
Gordon did not keep that one in play.
So this game, as well as Madison NCFC. Madison still up 2-0 in stoppage time there in North Carolina.
Right now looking at the only draw today. It would also be the first draw for the Greenville Triumph this season.
Only the second in 12 meetings between these two teams, as we mentioned earlier. Certainly feel like a win, I think, for Richmond. They'll certainly take this point back home after being 2-0 down for the majority of this game. They were never really out of it, Mark. As we said, they just hung around. Finished by Nathan Orney.
There's still time for a spectacular finish here, and it would look more in favor of Richmond to do so.
Luke Pavone popping up at the perfect time for his first goal in Kickers colors.
Long time coming. It's a lot of days in the office for Luke Pavone at the same facility.
Pavone's been with the Kickers since 2019. Hasn't played a whole ton over the last few seasons. Kicks Ashwood down. Yellow card. First one of the night, Mark. I think, right?
Yeah, it's the first one. I was just noting that earlier as silently I didn't want to acknowledge it out loud. Now I'm glad I didn't, or else everyone would have pinned it on me.
Kick in the back.
That's Owain Gordon's second yellow card of the season. But yeah, first yellow card issued this entire match. Which is an infrequent thing in USL League One matches. You usually get a handful of bookings.
It's final in Cary. Forward Madison complete that 2-0 win over NCFC. Their first loss since the beginning of the season, since the first week of the season. There's the Tormentor. Madison remain undefeated. A lot of draws in there for sure. Matt Glazer got this team going in his second year.
Boyce gets tugged down. Ref says play on, and then now opts for the free kick. He might be getting a second yellow card here. Got to get them all in while we can.
I think that was Suko.
Professional foul there for Justin Suko.
Former Madison man.
His third yellow card of the season. 30 seconds to go. Greenville, can they find something? Wu heads it down and into the hands of Fitzgerald.
happy to slow this one down. Get away with this point. Short trip back to Richmond. Shortish. Certainly shorter than some trips you could make in USL League One.
And the final whistle sounds, and it'll be a point share between the two at Paladin Stadium. 2 goals in the first half for the Triumph, 2 goals in the second half for the Kickers. That is how this one will wrap up. Second draw in the series between Greenville and Richmond. And we'll wrap up all of our thoughts on the other side of this break here on ESPN+.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot of pressure. There's big shoes to fill.
It's your time now, Tommy. I know you'll keep it special like your dad did.
If we can keep this business growing, I think that's the best way to honor him.
Well, I was there for him, and I'll be there for you.
About this new location?
He would have loved it, Tommy. Let's find a way.
Hi, I'm Megan Mack, President of Prospect Blue.
And I'm Jess Barnes, Director of Business Development at Prospect Blue.
Prospect Blue is a staffing and recruiting firm headquartered right here in Richmond, Virginia. We serve the Mid-Atlantic region and beyond.
With the labor market experiencing historic shortages, Prospect Blue is here to help companies attract and retain key talent.
With strong relationships in the corporate, financial, legal, and medical fields, we are in a unique position to connect employers with job seekers.
Welcome back to post-game coverage here from Paladin Stadium on ESPN+. 2-2, your final score line here between these two sides. Mark Schoenster, Ross Davenport alongside me as we look at the GSP International Airport high-flying plays of the match, starting off with the foul drawn by Lucas Coutinho and the ensuing goal.
Yeah, perhaps a soft free kick, but there's nothing soft about the strike from Lucas Coutinho to give Greenville the early 1-0 lead.
Just a fantastic take from Coutinho. That's his 4th goal on the season and gave Greenville the early lead. And then they'd be feeling really good after the second goal would go through. Bit of a misplay there from Fitzgerald, and Brandon Fricke will clean up the mess.
Yeah, certainly a question about the collision between Tevin Shaw and Nathan Orney, but no whistle, and Greenville up 2-0. And then they just didn't move on from that. Just kind of got a little static, and Richmond hung around, and what a finish here by Nathan Orney.
All the finishes here on this right end zone. Great pass from Belmar and Orney, as you mentioned already. Nice finish.
It's a Nathan Onzagi type finish.
Yeah, exactly. And then they would continue to knock on the door, and then sometimes you just got to put the ball in dangerous areas, and it's going to bounce your way. And in this case, it bounced off the right post, and Luke Pavone positioning himself and tacking that one home to make it 2-2. And that would be your final score here between these two sides. As we see the Coca-Cola full-time stats, again, possession very much in favor of the Richmond Kickers. Didn't have any yellow cards till after the 90 minutes. Anything else really stick out to you, Ross?
Only one of those 8 shots for Greenville coming in the second half. Meanwhile, 5 are Richmond's 8 shots coming in the second half. A deserved result, I think, for the visitors.
A point for both sides, and it'll mean that both teams have now entered double digits in the point category with 10 up top. Well, as we roll and skip to the end of this broadcast, we appreciate you tuning in. If this was the one game of the 7 o'clock games you chose, there were 4 different options. We appreciate you picking us. For our entire broadcasting crew, Ross Davenport, my name is Mark Schoenster. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope you have a fantastic night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.